Good morning, Sales Academy followers, listeners, YouTubers, podcasters, and everything in between us. So this morning's subject comes from the back of a fantastic evening last night. I'm being honest with you, leveling with you, an emotional evening at the same time. I got quite emotional, and it made me reflect on not just why, but the importance of last night. So the subject and the musing for today's subject is what stuck with you. What stuck with you? Now, if you want to change that to who stuck with you, be my guest, right? But what stuck with you? And it's last night I went to see Ocean Colour Scene, one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band of all time. And I saw Ocean Colour Scene at the Beacon in Bristol, recently reopened, and it was an amazing venue. And it was brilliant to be in there, knowing that Blaze on Saturday, Blaze, one of our clients and a fantastic musician, talented beyond belief, spoken word poet, rap artist, musician. He was hosting and emceeing the reopening of the Beacon in Bristol on Saturday. And then on Monday, I'm there watching my favorite band 2 days later, knowing that he's been in their presence. His presence was still there. And the boys were on stage performing. Steve Craddock was back. And yeah, but all of this was important because I've been touring with these guys for 3 decades, right? I've been supporting these guys in my life for 30 years, and they've been supporting me. And it's like, and that's that kind of thing with bands for me. And when I ask you what stuck with you, one of the things for me that has stuck with me is music. It always has done. Music and comedy, right? And you've heard me mention this before on previous podcast stuff. Those that know me well, and clients I work with and stuff like that. We all get into funks at different times. You get wormholes that go in, things like, and what drags you out of it? What brings you out of it? And I don't say this flippantly when I say I don't watch the news, I don't buy newspapers, I don't engage in politics anymore and all sorts of stuff, because it's a waste of my freaking time. It's a waste of energy, right? And it also drains me. It's like a vampire. So I go to comedy because comedy makes me laugh, and comedy releases chemicals of enjoyment and joy and happiness and laughter. And that tops me up. And so does music. Right. And some of the music I listen to over the years, and I'm sure some of you listening to this can relate, some of the music I listen to is almost happy to be sad music, if that makes sense. It's music that is, if you listen to the lyrics, if you my daughter's she's discovered Morrissey, right? My daughter plays Morrissey all the time. On the Spotify wrap up this year, one of the songs that gets played all the time is my Charming Man by Morrissey. My daughter plays it all the time. And it's funny because if you listen to the lyrics of Morrissey, they're very funny lyrics, and they're poking the bear at the industry and poking the bear at themselves and everything. That's funny. I do that, right? So, but the sound is quite melancholy, so there's this happy to be sad stuff. And some of Ocean Colour Scene's songs, they're lyrically, they're absolutely genius. Melody wise, they're beautiful, and some of them are really hard hitting, So last night, listening and watching and being there with Becca and the boys and stuff, and they're both musicians, so drummer and a guitarist, and listening to Steve Craddock, what I consider to be one of the greatest guitarists of my lifetime, watching him and listening to him and seeing Will's reaction, and Oscar the drummer, who's just what that boy can't do with beat is unbelievable, and seeing George kind of relate to him, and also the guitarist, he really picked up on Steve's talent. But Ocean Colour Scene have been there as a constant through my adult life. A chosen group like Derby County. When I was 16, I chose to follow Derby County, and I've been supporting them ever since, and there's a loyalty, and there's a commitment, and there's a discipline and a focus and a love and a passion and everything that goes with that. And the same with supporting the bands, right? And bands break up and people move on out of bands, but the band remains. The music remains. And Ocean Colour Scene, I think they've had platinum songs, they've had gold songs, I think, but the highest chart position they've ever had was The Day We Caught the Train with number 4 in the charts. But I'm like, it's a crime that the Riverboat song never got to number 1. It's a crime that The Circle and The Day We Caught the Train and Policemen and Pirates and all of these fantastic songs never got to number 1, in my humble view. But I don't care. I was there last night enjoying it with all different ages and ranges, and hearing kids talking about their parents are downstairs in the mosh pit and they've got their albums and they've come along with them to enjoy it and stuff. There's generations of people engaging in that music. And I sat there and I got quite emotional because these boys are big into their Northern soul. So was my dad. You know, he loved his Northern Soul, and there was a snippet of Northern Soul dancing going on in the background as they were playing, and it's like Steve Craddock's there, and he's shuffling on the floor, and he's got it running through his blood, you know. And it just reminded me of Dad, and it reminded me of times in my life, you know. And I'm like, they've always been there. And then the beautiful Mark Brinson, who tragically lost his wife and a friend, and I hope he hears this. He commented today on the post that I put up last night that we were there, that Moses Shoals, that album, simply, that band got him through grieving his wife, you know. And it's like, that's the kind of impact I'm talking about music can have. So what sticks with you? So think about the band and the music and the mood, and think about where you go to and what gets you out of those funks, you know. What's your go-to? And I want to comment below. I want to know, what's the music of choice for you? What do you go to that brings you out of that space or takes you somewhere and helps you reset, recharge, and reconnect with, you know, the person you've always been, that you've got busy and you've forgotten? Because we love him or her or they. We love it, right? And it's a crime to hide away. It's a crime to hide your talent away and your brilliance away. And it's a crime to just get lost in the busyness of the world and not get reminded of the talent and the beauty and the magnificence of what is around us when we allow ourselves to. So yeah, I had a few moments last night of being transported back to a lot of people who are no longer in my life. You know, people move on, friendships move on, all that sort of stuff, but also people that remain, just like those songs that remain. You know, my best mate who got in to see them in Gloucester Leisure Centre when I didn't, because the tickets got thrown away, you know. And I'm like, I've seen them God knows how many times over the 30 years, God knows how many times. And I've traveled everywhere to see them. And I continue to, you know. And I had a moment last night because Simon looked really ill on stage. There was a moment where he kind of lost his lyrics and he stood back, and I thought he was having a heart attack on stage, you know. Yeah, the band has been with me for a long time. So what sticks with you? What do you go to bring you back? I'd love to hear. That's today's music. What sticks with you? And if you want to change it to who sticks with you, cool. But come and have a conversation. In your corner, we stick with people. Matters. It really, truly matters.